Hi, I'm back. So this was something that I wanted to do in the last part of the talk. Just backing up. So I'm going to show you just a few resources on HTML5 stuff that you might be interested in, and then also just do a quick tutorial of the Chrome developer tools, which are also very similar to the Safari developer tools, which are kind of their version of Firebug, which probably will come in handy during the hack or the coding or whatever we're calling it. So anyway, so first the HTML5 rocks. You'll remember this from my presentation, which was slides.html5rocks.com. It's a part of a greater site that we recently launched, which has a lot of great resources if you're interested in kind of learning more about HTML5, and especially if you're interested in playing around a little bit. So there was the presentation, which I showed you before. There's also the tutorials, which you click on that, and there's a bunch of categorized tutorials. Each one of them will tell you which browsers they're targeted towards. And it's a really great way to take a quick look at, to learn some of the various topics that are on here. And I think this is something that's going to continuously see more and more tutorials coming out. So the other part of the website that's pretty cool is the HTML5 Playground, which you can get by hitting Playground. And this has a bunch of kind of little demos that you can actually play with. So for example, I can go to one of the CSS demos and click on the round corner one. And here I see the code, and then down here I see the output. So for example, I can come in and change the border radius to be like 36, which is going to be ridiculous, and hit the run code, and it's going to rerun. Actually, I think it was already so much that, so I can make that like 3 or something. Okay, I should have looked at this closer before I did this. But anyway, the point is that all of this stuff updates in real time, so you can play around with the demos. Kind of hack them up and see right away what's going to happen. And then the last thing that's kind of cool here is the Resources tab, which has links to a bunch of other interesting HTML5 sites. So there's HTML5 Readiness, which is kind of a visualization of HTML5 as it's progressed over time. Another really great resource is the Dive into HTML5. This is a book on HTML5 that's put out completely free, Creative Commons. And the coolest part about the Dive into HTML5.org is the last part, which is the last chapter, which basically has, for each tag, it'll tell you exactly what you need to do to detect whether it's supported in any browser. So in any browser, if I want to know whether the month input type is supported, I would just run these 3 lines of code. It's a really great book in general. So if you're in, and there is a print version that's going to be coming out if you're interested in that too. But there's just a lot of really cool resources on here. So I would recommend anybody who's interested in some of the HTML5 stuff that I've shown to just go here and play around and view source. So with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the developer tools in Chrome. So first of all, I can just on this page show you that anywhere on the background, or if I click on any element in the page, when I right-click, we can go to Inspect Elements, and that's going to bring up the developer tools within Chrome. Hopefully that's going to be big enough for you to see stuff. So when you first get here, so this is kind of what Safari and Chrome use for, well, what any WebKit browser uses, sort of like Firebug. It's actually built directly into WebKit, which means that it can do some pretty cool, powerful things. So the very most basic thing that you might want to do is find a specific element in the source. So you can see all the sources here. I can, on any element, collapse it or bring it up. Whenever I hover over something, it shows up in blue here. For any of these things, I can just double-click and then edit. So I can say, like, hi, Mom, and have that, and it shows up here. I mean, these are all, like, basic things. I can, also, if I want to find an element, I can come down to the little magnifying glass here, click on that, and then whenever I hover over any element, if I click on that, it's going to then highlight what I'm looking at. And over on the side, I can see all the CSS styles that are there. So I can see the style on that particular element, but then also all the match styles. You can see that in this case, it's matching something inside of an external file. So I can actually click on this and it'll bring up the file. Here it shows me that this is just an inline style sheet. And then on any of these items, I can come in and edit. So I can make, like, the border 8 there, and you see it immediately show up everywhere. So that's the styles. On metrics, I can come in here very easily and see how the padding, the border, the margin, and position all interact. And I can edit any one of these. I can come down to the properties, which shows me basically all of the properties of the DOM wrapper for this individual element. And of course, I can edit any one of those, same as if I was in JavaScript. And I can come in, and this doesn't have an event listener on it. I'm not sure if anything on the page does. But if there were any event listeners, I can take a look at them here. So, and of course, whenever I click on an item, I can always pop up the stack to something a little bit higher. So this is kind of the basics. Then there's a lot of other really cool features. So the console is another one. This is something that anybody who uses Firebug should be familiar with. And it basically supports the entire Firebug language, if you know that. There's a lot of cool things that you can do. So for example, 0 is going to give me the currently, or $0 is going to give me the currently selected element, which in this case, nothing's selected, so it's just giving me the outermost. But I can actually come in, click on one of these items, and I can also access the console while I'm in the elements view. So I'll bring that up, and I can do the $0 again, and now I see my image. So the image won't do this, but with the HTML element, you can see here I can expand it and drill down into it. So for example, I can come back in and oops. You can come in and select one of these, pop up a bit, and my $0 again, and here you can see, once again, drilling down in. $1 gives you the previous item. There's other things that you can do, like do the inspect command to see something. You can monitor events. There's a lot of things you can do. So if this seems cool, just check out more about the Firebug syntax. But there's a bunch of other cool tabs on here. So I talked a little bit about local storage stuff. And so you can see on the storage tab that I can look at local storage, so I can see any keys and values stored by this origin. Look at session storage. I can look at the cookies, and this is more than just what you can access from JavaScript. This is like all the cookies for this, including if there were HTTP or secure cookies. You'd be able to see it. Also, databases show up here. So there actually is no database here, but so I'll go to another page to show you this. So this is a little demo where like little notes that you can create and drag around and then type on. So if I go and look in here, I can see this the two notes that I have, including this that I just edited right here. So I can even I can edit any of these values. I can also click on the database itself and run actual SQL queries on it with tab completion. Oh, by the way, the console has tab completion and everything as well. So I can do like select star from WebKit and run it, and it comes up pretty. I can sort on it. So if you're doing storage, this is a really cool way to be able to debug things. So audits. Let's see. I'll go to. So audits is a tab that's sort of in. It's still kind of in beginnings, but it's going to become a lot more powerful over time. Basically, it just runs your page and gives you suggestions for things that you can do to optimize it. And right now, there's not too many things that it looks for, so it's pretty basic. But this is definitely something to watch for as time goes on. And it's built in a modular fashion. So we're hoping over time more people will add various audit modules, which will be able to automatically kind of give you suggestions on how to optimize your site. So switch to do this. So another one of the things that you can do with the developer tools is you can do profiles. So I can come into here and hit record for a little bit, stop it. And so basically what it was doing was it was watching the page, looking at where all of the processing power was going into. So I can select between bottom up or top down, but I can basically drill down into exactly which functions are spending all the time. So I can see that 37% of my time was happening right in here, which we can see was where it was doing a timeout. So this is an area where maybe where if I'm optimizing, I can drill down into exactly what's going on here and see where all my CPU time is going. I can also, if I'm looking for memory leaks, I can hit this button right here to take a heap snapshot, and then let my app run for a little bit, maybe doing something that was causing memory leaks, and then take another snapshot. And I can look at exactly where all my memory is, sorted by what's largest, and drill down into it. And then I can look at what were the deltas between the two snapshots. So in this case, it's 0 bytes, which is good because it probably means I don't have any memory leaks. But if you were finding that your app was slowly getting bigger over time in terms of memory footprint, this is the first place that I would go. Create a snapshot, let it sit for a little bit, create another snapshot, and then drill down into what's been going on. So this is a demo from the closure library. Coming from SVN, how slow. What else do I have? There we go. So what this does is this is basically a demo for this particular widget. So you can come in and inspect, and I can go to the timeline, and hit record, and then click on that, hit stop. And what I have is over time, it's showing me what processing power is happening at. So it's looking for when it's recalculating style, when it's doing painting, when it's doing layout. And one of the really cool things that it does is that you can see here there was the event click. And what it does is it keeps track of the fact that this click caused all of these events to run for up to a second later. And you can see this recalculating style, painting, recalculating style, painting. And I can even expand this and see that it's doing a function call, recalculating, installing a timer, the timer fires, remove the timer. Because what it's doing is it's essentially doing animation via JavaScript. This is kind of what it's just trying to tell you not to do. But the closure library is meant to work on all browsers. So, so what you can see here is that it's actually able, across asynchronous calls, it's able to track the execution and make it really easy for me to drill down and see how one event click caused this whole cascade of events to happen. And I can kind of track it down. And in some of these cases, if one of these was really long, like if I was noticing one of the recalculate styles was really long, I could look at why that was happening and what function was causing that. So resources, let me go to a more interesting page. Let's try this again. So you can go to resources and refresh, and it's going to load the page and show me, do a breakdown by size, so I can see where all the objects are. So the dark part is the size that was downloaded, and the white part is the actual size. So when it's the difference is compression. So you can see here that a large part was the DNA model that it's actually animating. And if we look at the time, it's similar where the kind of grayed out part is showing you the network latency. So it started the request here. You can see this is an example of a site that they might want to try to optimize their servers to try and to serve this stuff up faster, because I waited for over half a second for it to load. But then once it started getting it, it was 9 milliseconds. You can see almost immediately after it started getting the page, WebKit started prefetching some of the next resources. And so you can kind of get an idea of how things are getting fetched. You can also come in here and sort via different ways. I don't know why that's popping up there. And you can also narrow it down to only look at, say, images or everything. So there's one last thing that I want to show you about developer tools, and I'm going to hand it off. Where is it? Okay, I didn't bookmark that. That's fine. So I'm going to kind of like this. So under the scripts tab, you basically have a full debugger. So in this case, this is under zippy.js. So go, actually, let's see. Show you a cool time while we're waiting. Check this out. So this is with the video tag and canvas. So it's actually like playing a video. And then when I click, it blows the video up. And you can see how all the individual parts are still actually running. So I mean, the fact that you can do this fast is kind of cool. Anyway, so my more boring demo came up here. I can click on Inspect. I can go into Scripts, and because I looked this up beforehand, I know that I'm looking for the hovercard.js. I want something around line 200. So here, this is the function that's happening whenever I hover over something. So I'm going to come and hover over, and you can see that we've now hit this breakpoint. And I can come over here. You can have watched expressions if you want to. I don't have any. You can see the call stack. And you notice how this is actually an anonymous function being set to a variable, but it's still smart enough to realize what the name is, keep track of where it is. I can pop around in the call stack if I want to. I can look at all the local variables here. I can see all my breakpoints. I can even look at worker info if I was running any workers. And the coolest thing, though, is that I can actually edit this code live. So I can, and I can hover over any of these things, and look at the actual properties of what's there. But anyway, so I can click and come into here, and I'm going to change this to not equal, which I know is going to break the code. So I'll hit, I'll get rid of my breakpoint, hit play, and now when I come hover over, it's not going to work. So I can edit stuff whenever I'm in a breakpoint, or whenever the execution stopped, or I can just edit it at any time. I can even come in and add another line, so I can say console.log. Oops. Typing while demoing this never works. So anyway, so I fixed that up, and now I can hover back over this, and now you see the hover card demo works again, where I get the little thing when I hover. If we pop over to the console, you see I've gotten a couple of my hello messages. So all of this stuff, basically what I did for you right now is just give you a quick rundown of the Google I/O presentation on this stuff. So if you found this interesting, I would definitely look up the Google I/O stuff and check out the actual presentation, which is done by the guy who actually wrote pretty much all this stuff. But that's just kind of a quick little demo of what's possible in the developer tools. And just to end it off, I'll show you one other cool demo. So this one is in real time. It's converting the video over into ASCII. So, and the code, if you view source, this is like 20 lines of code to do that. So, all right. Well, I'm now going to hand it off to Timothy or
Daniels.
Daniels.